You're like, I'm making this a thing.
I'm making it a thing. I'm going to force it down your throats just like a visual.
You can't say no.
You cannot say no.
Yeah, so today we have a topic. It's either you're trying to get into K-pop and you find it overwhelming, or it's the thing that you love about K-pop, and that is fan culture.
We all know it. We all love it. Some of you hate it, but get with it. I believe that without fans, K-pop would not be what we know it as.
For sure.
It's non-existent. There's no such thing as the bigness of K-pop without the bigness of the fandoms themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we're definitely going to talk about some of the go-to phrases that you'll hear about fan culture within Korea. We're going to talk about fan culture in Korea in general.
Yeah.
And
abroad.
And we're going to talk about, some fandoms. Get you down to get you up to speed, you know?
Yeah. So the lingo. Where to start? Okay. So I guess we'll start at the beginning.
Yeah.
So before you become an idol, when you are kind of not signed yet, but taken on by an entertainment company, you are a trainee.
Yeah.
So trainees, a lot of times you'll hear artists talk about meeting as trainees because they'll be training with other guys or other girls, and they kind of have a community there of people who are taking dance lessons, taking classes together, and kind of learning more about their craft. So a lot of artists who are like famous friends when they were trainees, Youngjun and Woo Young, Youngjun of TXT, Woo Young of ATEEZ.
Yeah. A lot of like SM trainees ended up going to other companies. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like a lot of like what is now currently known as Hybe trainees going to different companies. Song from ATEEZ also started in Hybe as a trainee. The trainees are kind of the first step to you becoming a K-pop idol down the road. So
once you debut, you become an idol.
Yes.
And when you're an idol, there is like a certain standard, especially within Korea, that idols are expected to hold to.
Yeah.
So like they're not dating, at least not openly.
No.
And
really
that's part of like keeping the fan mystery, I guess, to keep fans engaged. Yeah. Like you're not supposed to smoke. Mm-hmm. You're not supposed to curse. A lot.
Very clean image.
Yeah, no drugs, super clean. You're supposed to be the guy that people can bring home to their parents.
And you gotta think about like the time frame in which this kind of standard was starting is because of, again, the country itself was like trying to create an image that was going to be more respectable to parents of young people who were becoming obsessed with these people. So they decided, well, we're going to put a lot of importance on them being very clean cut so that you guys can be on board as well with this distraction that your kids have.
Right.
It has its problems, obviously, because they are human beings, but obviously there's still the phrasing that they are an idol once they have debuted in a group or as a soloist.
Yeah. So that kind of leads us, I guess, the support from the parents. A lot of times for our young K-pop fans, the parents are the ones who are funding this journey.
Yeah.
So that leads us into another lingo term, I guess, which is fanSERVice.
fanSERVice. Crazily enough, did not really know what this was until recently, but it makes complete sense. fanSERVice is kind of, you have now taken yourself from being just a fan or a part of a fandom, and you are now pretty much involved with the production and actual monetization of your group of choice or idol of choice. So they are the ones who are planning all of these specialty events. They are buying out albums. They are driving a lot of the consumerism towards their go-to ultimate person, which is kind of cool.
I think part of being a K-pop fan is being a consumer, because every part of it is monetized. Like the photo cards, more than just apparel and things to buy at a concert, but like the albums have special album tracks that you can buy. There's fan cards that you can buy that give you like special stuff for pre-sale for their concerts, or like for when they release things, you might be in the first group of people to see their content before it's released. Like it's all about finding a way to monetize interaction. So yeah.
And I'm not gonna knock you on it, because people will do it. We're not complaining.
Yeah.
We have gone to many a concert. We are going to many a concert.
Okay.
I have listened to a lot of music. So obviously there is going to be an area for monetization there, no matter what.
Yeah.
And again, because you guys stress importance of fan interaction, you're going to get that out of them.
Right.
So I can't be mad at it, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I feel one of the biggest things purchase-wise, I think that almost every K-pop fan has, like, if you're really a fan of this group, is your light stick.
Oh, yes.
You kind of have to buy a light stick. You know, okay, that's not right. You don't have to, but it's like such an integral part of the concert-going experience, because when you're at the concert, so your light stick is like a little flashlight wand thing that is controlled by the group or the stadium or the venue, and they can kind of control what picture, color your light stick is to create an image that they can see from the stage, and it kind of gives you a unity, or I don't know how you want to say
it. It creates an interesting bonding experience between fan and artist, but also amongst the fans themselves. Like, everyone's just sitting there holding up a light stick. It lights up with the music as it's happening, which is super, super cool. Yeah. And you feel like you are a part of what's making this moment extremely memorable for everyone involved.
Yeah.
It's super, super fun. I think, like, back in the day, Big Bang was one of the first ones to have their own light stick. And then, since then, it has been, I think, every group, once they get past about a year, they usually end up coming out with their first. And
they all have, like, their own style, color, like, everything. And as groups age, their light stick will change. Like, they will come out with new additions. So you gotta get the newest one. They're gonna get you. They're gonna get you.
And I love me a light stick. They're very creative. Some are a bit more basic in nature, but they still end up just getting the job done, creating a lot of, like, creativity and individuality for the fans of this group, and making it very deeply about them.
So with idols.
Yes.
It's hard. Okay. Okay, because I'm thinking, because, like, there's so many avenues you can go, because I feel like the term idol is so, it's broad, but it's actually so specific, and I feel like there's definitely people who come to mind when you specifically talk about, like, this is the ideal idol.
Yeah.
Like, this is a person who I feel like really embodies what it means to be an idol.
That's it. Yeah.
And especially when we look at artists who have had, like, a long career, there's even less people who come to mind when you say this is an idol.
This is an idol. Truly.
For me, Taemin.
Taemin is a perfect example of an idol.
Yeah.
He is a full, multi-packaged, amazing performer, artist, person.
Yeah.
Like, and it's been consistent, and honestly just getting better.
Through decades.
Yeah.
Decades.
Yeah, he debuted as a little boy with the hair, and now he's like,
if you've ever seen the video, they edited him dancing over a Zendaya song.
Oh my god.
They're like, I thought it's like over replay replay, and it's like his long flat iron hair. It's like the early 2000s, and Taemin's like doing his dance. That's Taemin. That is Taemin of SHINee, and now he is not that all. Now he's guilty with the shirt being, different Taemin. But that Taemin does come from, I think, the depths of SHINee, where there were shipping and skinship, and I feel like with SHINee especially, you see, like, the true root of what today's fan culture fully is, because I feel like with them, like, people were a little extra. There
was a deep, boundaries were tested, is what I'll say. That's me being nice. But I mean, the issue that comes, like, shipping obviously is not a foreign concept. It's very much, even in the Western world, we obviously have shipping as well in any fandom. It includes, like, if you're into Marvel, if you're into, like, just two actors and whatever, you ship people. It's a thing that happens. People who are really into Supernatural shipped, like, Castiel and and it's like a whole thing. But in K-pop, it has become kind of its own power in a way. And they are very popular on like AO3s and like things like that, where you ship like a lot of K-pop idols together, male or female.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times people having an issue, obviously shipping is the idea of you, it comes from relationship, and it doesn't always automatically have to be something romantic. It can be just romances or friendships, or you just like that duo, that triplet, you just love them together. But a lot of what people know it as is the obvious romantic linking between K-pop idols. My only real issue with it is when it gets to a level where I feel it's inappropriate or uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or a level where it makes them that way, obviously. Or you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, it's not like I like this duo and I think it's cool and I get to have like my own creative license with it. It's like you're doing it because that's the only way that you feel comfortable with them being with someone.
You guys have to realize, like, they can see this.
Yeah.
They may not, most of them may not be able to read English, but they can see, or like to read a full article, to read your whole story in English, but they can see this content, right? Like, they know that you're doing like a Matt's in the shower fic. Like, they know.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, we're all human.
Fun.
Sure. I'm a different type of person who's like, sure, go ahead. I also know that might be very overwhelming.
And especially at the age, you know, like Nikki from Enhypen.
Yeah.
He was underage and there's fics out about, like, come on, girl.
Yeah, it's
or
a
guy.
lot.
Come on.
Like,
stop.
You can't be doing that. But if it's in good fun and not problematic, okay.
I love the inclusion of, like, no matter what artist you're reading about, like, they end up going to a Jackson Wang party. Like,
always go to a Jackson Wang party.
Like,
that's
Jackson
so
Wang is throwing a party. I love that that's a through line throughout any type of K-pop story. Like, you know who throws parties?
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Wang.
Speaking of Jackson Wang, a great idol to segue right into. I was talking about skinship because he loves himself a skinship.
He
does. Skinship is just the idea of there being like touching amongst two people. Like, oh, we're doing skinship. Oh, we love each other. It's skinship. Obviously, it can be more intensive skinship if you ever watch
dramas.
Yes. If you ever watch like Nevertheless, which is a drama on Netflix. Again, not plugging Netflix, but like do watch the drama. It's interesting. There's a lot of skinship in that one. Like a lot.
I'm mad at her because honestly, Nami, she just.
I love that name though.
It's cute. Butterfly.
It's cute. Butterfly. Butterfly. But yeah, Nabi was not the smartest person, and that is okay. Because sometimes when we're young, we do stupid things. Shout out to... Anyway.
Whoa! Where were we going?
Anyway, skinship. Speaking of skinship, it's just the idea of there being a lot of touching. A lot of times in K-pop groups, there is a closeness. They literally have grown up with each other. They are dorming with each other. They past being trainees and on. They are literally spending most of their time with each other more than their own families. So there is a level of connection sometimes. Some people do not have it. Some people, just like any other person, some people don't like touching.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. But skinship that's the phrase you would hear when two people are about a brush, a tap, a hug, a moment.
A moment.
Yeah, a moment. Yes.
In the woods.
We spoke about biases and bias records before.
We did in episode 1, but let's recap just so that we fully say that we did our job.
Mm-hmm.
What did we say?
So, biases are like your favorite, and your bias record is the one who's trying to wreck your favorite.
Yes. Yeah. So your bias is the one you look at. The bias record is the one you say, "Oh, this song, he's pulling me.
Yeah,
she's pulling me."
Like I will just speak on one that I have. I love GOT7.
Okay.
Love them down.
Okay.
My bias in GOT7 would be Mark. My bias record would be Yeogyum.
Yeah, and that's a recent development. So I
Very
love that
recent.
for you. I love that for you.
Very
I love that we're changing. And that's the other thing. Your bias and your bias records, that's going to adjust.
It changes
as you go.
Mm-hmm.
I remember part of growth.
I remember the first time that you were like, I know exactly what my bias is. No. You said with so much like Moxie.
Because he's still the finest one in the group, no doubt.
There's no question. But the fact is, I said it's going to change in about 2 seconds.
Because I saw him in an interview and I was like, oh.
Yeah, and then you saw another person, you said, oh, and I said,
did.
Exactly. That's all we need to know.
I did.
Yeah. And so it happens.
Before you choose your bias, make sure you see them off stage as well.
Yeah.
That can change your...
It changes. Personalities, it also can change it for the better. Like, a lot of times, personalities will change how I see things. That's why I started liking Young as much as I did. But I will also say that you
saw the video of him catching bras?
I did. I did. And it's part of the reason that he's my bias wrecker.
Shout out, Young.
Shout out, Young. Coming to New York soon. We're proud of you. But no, I think that also you can have biases that aren't just one person. You can have multiple of biases and bias wreckers. You can also be someone who's an OT, which means that you like the whole group.
OT7, OT8.
OT7 to OT8, OT9, OT11, OT25.
Okay, don't do all that.
That's a lot.
OT25, you need to pick. I'm sorry.
No, you do need to pick there. You need to at least pick 8.
Make a choice. Be decisive.
Pick 8.
Please.
We are in indecisive age of people. We need to get together. Aging's a big, huge thing in South Korea.
Yeah.
And it's not just in South Korea. In a lot of the Asian diaspora, there is a cultural connection to age and hierarchy associated with it. So there are phrases in a group for that exact concept.
Yeah, so the youngest member is called the maknae. Now, throughout K-pop history, there are famous maknaes, and the maknae role itself is like a very specific role to have in a K-pop group because you're kind of the baby that everyone takes care of, because that's usually the person who is, in some cases, joining the group last because they're the youngest, and in a lot of times they are coming with an insane talent level just because they have to be that young and be in a group with people who are older than them. These are also people who left home much younger than everybody else. So that's what it means to be the maknae. And then you have these older brothers or sisters who are pretty much taking care of you. So like famous maknaes, we have the golden maknae, which is Jungkook of BTS. We have, what else?
The diamond maknae, who's Hyunin of TXT.
Yeah.
There's Lisa of Blackpink.
Yes.
There's Taemin.
Maknae.
We already talked about Taemin.
Love Taemin.
Amazing.
Love Taemin.
Dino, 17.
Yeah.
He's a big, huge one. And Ning Ning as well from aespa. She's a famous one because she is famously known for not addressing them as her older sisters as the formal speech. Well, and I find it hilarious. I love her for that. Yeah. Shout out to you. But yeah, no, they're all extremely talented.
We have the Hyung, which we have, like we said, Bangchan, who is he the oldest member of his group?
He's the oldest, so he's just the oldest Hyung that they have. Anyone else who's under, so like I think IN is the maknae of Stray Kids, also very talented. All of his older Hyungs would be all of the older members, but his oldest is going to be Bangchan, who we love. But so that's with male groups, and then there's Oni for female groups. So in Blackpink, for example, Lisa would be the maknae, and all her older sisters will be her Onis, but then her oldest one would be Jisoo.
So when you have a group, especially within large groups, I think we hit on this one too, you have subunits that tend to break off. One of the groups that has, I think, the most subunits is probably NCT. NCTU, NCT Dream, NCT 127. What else?
There's another one that I cannot remember right now, which is crazy. But there's so many NCTs, and I really do enjoy them because they kind of mix and match their subunit. Where it's not always the same lineup either. Wavy, which is all the Chinese language as well. That includes Ten, who's a Thai member.
Love Ten. Birthday.
We'll talk about that later. Oh my gosh. Yeah, he's a great soloist and a great member of NCT. And then there's also, like, technically you could see Super M, even though it's its own group. That was a humongous, subunit. And 17 obviously has to do a lot of subunits as well. You have, Hoshi and Woozy and DK and all of them doing the BSS and everything. It ends up being the best thing for a lot of ways for them to, branch out artistically. And do something different. Like, Stray Kids has Through which is just the rappers having a group together. I kind of like that because you get to, there's range. Yeah,
you know, range. And you get to see them do something different. Yeah. which is a slay. Now, this is mostly because a lot of these groups will go to the military at a certain point. The male groups will go to the military at a certain point. So in order for, I mean, I hate to say it, but in order for them to keep performing and in order for the label to still make money and in order for the fans to keep getting content, they will kind of create smaller groups from the group that exists and put out music or do dance videos or content that way. And that's called a subunit. So one of the things that I like about 10, and I guess you could probably say this about Taemin too, is that he's just kind of a vibe, and it's about the vibe. Like, it's very fluid, it's very just like, this is the art, this is what I'm doing, and it doesn't necessarily hold to any like gender conforming fashion norms, which is a little slay.
They're very
like,
much
I love
into the non-gendered thing in a lot of the newer idols, especially past like the third generation of K-pop, which I'm very happy with because I love that.
Express yourself.
It's such a nice way to express yourself and such a nice like new look to have as well, to kind of change people's like perception on things that are more feminine.
Definitely the vibe that K-pop's gay, like that's gay.
That's a big that's a big stigma and conception. Like, people have a thing about like how feminized things are, which I think is really interesting because, I mean, so what? Like, so what? We're Black women. Like, within our culture, there's this like weird like fetishization thing within like how people like see Black people, especially Black women and men, especially in any romantic setting or any just overall viewpoint setting. And I think that that's such an interesting stigma to have towards people whom you don't get to know the culture of, and like constantly want to appropriate, to be able to say like, oh, that's how they are from afar. And then you're like, okay, that's fine, but also like, we like to express ourselves, we're human beings, we love to do what we want to do, and truthfully, like, it's a part of our culture to like be open and fluid and do all these things. So that's the same thing within Korean culture. You're gonna see makeup, you're gonna see different hairstyles, different colors, you're gonna see different eye colors too. And sure, there might be some like history behind like why there's an importance on like the whitewashing and the look and all that stuff. That is a deeper conversation, but it is just a part of the vibe.
They're specifically picking these kids who are attractive on purpose. That's the whole point. Every group has like, you have we'll come back to this, but you have like a visual, you have a rapper, you have a vocalist, you have a dancer. Like, you're supposed to have certain looks as part of your thing. Like, I think visuals especially are just one of those things where like, that is what grabs you in, at least for me, especially like, because most of these people I see before I hear the music. Not anymore, but when I was first starting, I would be like, oh, I'm on Instagram, so I'm seeing stuff before I hear what they sound like, and that's the first bit of content that I'm interacting with, right? So when I see a Felix, when I see a Hyunjin, when I see someone who's really serving absolute face, that's what's gonna rope you in, you know? So they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And put a little beauty queen out front.
They know how to pull you in. And it works. Like, there's so many instances where like a Winter, a Wonyoung from IVE, there's like Sunghoon from Enhypen, there's San from ATEEZ. Like, there are obviously pulls, and a lot of their pulls come from their visual, which is obviously, it's in the name. They're the visual member. They are the ones who you're like, oh,
but see, my visual was so not ATEEZ.
He is also a visual. ATEEZ has a lot of visuals.
Okay, just be so clear. It's a girl.
It's a girl visuals. Okay, but there's a lot of groups of visuals recently, and they're doing their job, and I'm so happy with that. When speaking of like that feeling that people have towards K-pop, especially with it being like more feminine in nature, there's literally a phrase for like a Korean male who puts a lot of effort into his look, and it's called a flower boy.
During the Silla Kingdom, like 57 BC, that was a thing. They had a flower boy who was just a young man who really took time to make sure that he was attractive. So like, there is a through line historically, like, respect Korea, because I'll tell you something, over here, pioneers were not taking showers,
No.
and they were not taking the time to look fine.
Mm-mm.
They didn't care. They
did not
didn't care. So shout out to y'all for keeping a look going.
Yes.
Slay that.
Yeah.
Slay that.
Slay that. And speaking of Flower Boy, okay. We're gonna talk about Eggo.
Where are we going?
Okay, we're gonna talk about Eggo. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
If you've ever watched, so recently, Robert Pattinson has been in Korea.
Yes.
He's promoting a new Bong Joon-ho film. If you don't know who
Yes.
Bong Joon-ho is, he's a director who did Parasite. He won a whole Oscar for it. It's an amazing movie. He has a new movie coming out with Robert Pattinson.
Right.
He has been in Korea promoting with him, and they have been asking him to do Egyo, which a lot of people don't know what that is. But if you ever see someone like doing like finger hearts and like the cute faces and the hearts and the different things, all the fun things, the flower, like they're all just like cuteness expressions. That were very popularized actually like way back in time. Like you think it's like something that's in common pop culture. No, there is a history of Egyo that comes back from like courtesans during like the Joseon era.
Yeah. So this is interesting because when we were researching this, I was like, okay, this is kind of crazy that like courtesans essentially prostitutes, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It's a nicer phrase.
So like, but people who are selling their body as a commodity, and when you think about these kids who are doing extreme dance, extreme vocal training, like a lot of these people, like I might be speaking out of turn here, but some of the ways that they're learning to do, especially with singing, it's not super safe. Like it's not like most of them aren't getting like really well-structured classical training. No. So a lot of these kids are probably going to lose their voice by the time they're like 40, for real. I'm just being honest. As people who are classically trained, I'm just being honest, right? Yeah. So they're also putting their body on the line, and then we ask them to do this little cutesy shit. It's like, give us that. And so when you see people in line at send-offs, like, can you, they just did a fucking 3-hour concert for you, bitch. Maybe chill out.
Please,
maybe chill out.
Just like, if they choose to do the Egyo, it's cute, it's adorable, we love it, it's a part of the culture, I understand it. I don't have an issue with it. I think it's cute. But I do think that there's an overstepping a boundary when you force the need to do an Egyo on top
and also, like, we're watching these guys grow up. So, like, sometimes, and with the girls, I feel like the fans are a little bit worse with the girls.
Yeah.
They're worse. I don't know why I said a little bit. But with the guys, it's like you're watching them grow up. So the thing that they may have been like, oh, it's fine. I don't mind doing this when I'm 16. Versus when they're like 24 and they don't want to do that anymore. Yeah. If that's your favorite and you want them to be happy, just stop asking them to do that because it's strange. It's weird.
And sometimes they will all of a sudden just start doing it by themselves again and they'll enjoy it. And I'm like, awesome, great. This is for you. And Egyo, like, obviously, like, in Japan, it would be like more so kawaii is like the phrasing. Mm-hmm. They have their own version of that. Like Hello Kitty would be kawaii, like cute, adorable. But all of it is like a big part of the fan service that they give to their fans a lot of the time. But it is often associated with women because the
but now it's like everybody. But before it was definitely like the courtesans tracked to more of the female artists, and now everybody's kind of just
flower crowns, all that fun stuff.
I
love a flower crown though. I will say that is cute.
When people do like the fan meets and they bring their like flower crowns and stuffed animals and all the kind of stuff, it's like always so.
There is a certain, I won't say there's a shelf life, but a lot of the importance of these groups being debuted so young, which is problematic, is because there is an emphasis on youth. And forever young being a concept. And with that, there is not a guarantee that a lot of these groups are going to exist past a certain time frame. And that brings me to talking about the 7 years curse.
So it's kind of frustrating because it's like, I think there's a lot of factors that play into it, right? I think it's the fact that a lot of times there's the companies or the record labels that are controlling a lot of what these artists are allowed to do. There's the fact that sometimes they don't have much of a say in the music that they put out, or in the content that they do, or in the angle that their group takes. It's the fact that sometimes they're not being paid enough. It's the fact that it's gotta be a lot of stress to be in the public eye 24/7, to be like, people will stalk you. You can't go out with your families on vacation because people will follow you. Like, that's a lot. And also the fact that, like, bold statement, but every K-pop artist isn't necessarily a musician.
No. Yeah.
A lot of them are performers. So I think finding their own sound within while being in a group is tough. So if they really do love music and they want to explore and make their own music, it's hard for them to do that with a group. So I think a lot of people want to kind of have solo careers. So after that 7 years, and especially after people serve in the military, you definitely see a split where it's like, okay, where are we going?
And it usually coincides with, again, like post the TVXQ situation that happened in the early 2010s-ish area of time. Like, the new standard is that you get a 7-year contract,
right?
In which those 7 years you are contracted to that company that you signed with. You are stuck with that label for that time frame unless something happens or change or shifts. And usually it comes to the time when you have to renegotiate that a lot of those feelings start to arise, and or that company will choose that they need to go in a different direction if they see it as no longer being successful. Right. So that is why there is a moniker of the 7 years curse put on groups of the idea of, like, if you do not become successful within that time frame, you're possibly not going to exist past 7 years. People who have broken that curse have been people who found a little bit of success closer to near the end of those 7 years, and it's been fine. A lot more people have been breaking that idea in the last, like,
there's 16 groups officially that have broken that curse. So
fully broken it.
It's possible. Your favorite group might do it.
Any new album drop, single drop, new version of visual that gets thrown out there is a comeback. And usually they are going to go on music shows. There are a lot of music shows in South Korea where people get to vote as well. And then the top person for the week will win special awards. Usually those are held from, like, music being released on Mondays originally, but because of global influence, music is now being released on Fridays. But a comeback is just when they are coming back, and usually they do a special stage, and, like, you have the video, and they just keep doing these promotions, and you get them for a good amount of time when that album or song drops.
Any group you want to see, look up their name, look up comeback, and you'll see it. And what I like about comebacks, especially a lot of groups try to come back with, like, a completely different vibe. Usually, like, every group has a concept, right? So there's a structure, or, like, a theme, or there's lore. There's lore to how they got the way they are. So, like, I think we said before, ATEEZ has, like, the pirate lore, and Hyphen is vampires. There's an Espa AI.
Yes, which I think is
crazy.
Super crazy.
They look like it, though.
They do. They're gorgeous. Speaking of AI, Plave. Actual AI group. Then there's, like, BTS is, like, just used as a concept, which is like very generalized, but opens up for a lot of room stuff. TXT is also, like, pretty much a different version of youth. But, like, boyhood especially being a big portion of it. I think that the concepts really set apart K-pop groups from, like, westernized groups that we know and love, because a lot of them don't have a concept. It's just
I can't tell you a concept of Destiny's Child.
No, you're just Destiny's Child that they killed.
And who is Destiny?
Them. And who was Destiny? Oh, I don't know. Destiny was, like, the destiny of them being, but also they're the child. I don't know. I love y'all girls, though, but it's definitely, like, the concept of TLC, the concept of Destiny's Child, the concept of NSYNC.
They passed the 7 years curse.
They did. Honestly, NSYNC didn't. Everyone else did. Even the Backstreet Boys. But, like, it's definitely very interesting because, like, we didn't really ground on a concept except for the people who were in the group. While K-pop centers it on the idea of a concept that these people fulfill in the group.
I think having a concept, this is kind of, like, a little crazy, but I think it makes it easier to interchange people. So if you have to kick someone out of the group, or if someone leaves, you can put someone back in and they can fill that spot in the concept. So. And then it's easier to accept them than it being like, but we miss Tiffany.
Like, it is what it is, y'all.
Because like you will, but there's someone there, so it's not.
But it works.
Yeah.
And they definitely like lay deeper into like a lore based concept in the most recent generations. Like before there was just like the concept of you're cutesy, you're cool, you're dope, whatever. And now it's like, oh no, you are a vampire and there is a priestess overtaking you. It's great.
And sometimes they lay into it in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like when Enhypen did.
Oh, yeah.
So Enhypen has this one performance and they had this beautiful like bedazzled outfit, but because they were vampiric, it was blood dripping down the outfit, but the rest of the outfit was white. So they looked like tampons.
They did look like tampons. It is now coined as the tampon performance. We love it. Honestly, as a woman, I felt seen. I felt heard. And honestly, I'm not that mad at it because it still looked great.
Yeah, and they did a great job. It's not even about that. It's just funny that every woman who watched, because, you know, K-pop is very popular among women. Every woman who watched was like, oh.
They're like, wow, it does give.
No one on your team said,
but you know what? It also gave vampires. So they did what they needed to do.
It did.
Speaking on the more, like, lighthearted part of K-pop and fans, there's a singing away from the tampons. If you do go to a concert and if you do watch that performance, one thing you will notice is that you will be hearing the audience very loudly, not just screaming for their go-to group or their go-to idol. They will be screaming in unison. Yes. In a chant formation.
Yeah, fan chants, man.
Fan chants are
one of my favorite parts about K-pop concerts. And I will say before my second, well, I did learn fan chant for my first concert.
You did.
But before my second K-pop concert is when I was really stressing out about making sure I knew the fan chants. Because I really wanted to get it right, because these fan chants are mostly set by Korean fans. And I don't speak Korean. No. So I wanted to make sure that I got it right. Because it's a thing about being in rhythm too. So, and like, I got rhythm. That's not the issue. But it's like, just to clarify, it's just like, I didn't want to mess it up. Yeah. Because like, a lot of these people have been fans for years. Yeah. And they've been practicing for years. Yeah. And so, now I'm there. But I wasn't there initially, so.
It's hard. And not only that, like, the fan chants are kind of like a group project put together by the companies, the group, and the fans themselves. Mm-hmm. And so, usually at a comeback stage, the song will have just come out the night before, and you will hear these fans in Korea chanting this specific fan chant for this specific song, and it is not easy to learn, in my opinion. It takes a lot of dedication to your group, to who you're a fan of. It is, and the bigger the group, the longer the fan chant. It's hard. I still have yet to learn a 17 fan chant. I don't know if it's possible.
Because it's like every member's name in age order.
Leader first.
Yeah. So out of order. Leader, and then every member in age order.
And then a phrasing.
Whatever they're saying is.
It's great and it's exciting. And I love it because it really does add so much character and it brings you out during a live performance, which the whole thing for K-pop is you do not have K-pop without live performance. Yeah. It's the most important part. It's the most important interaction that they have with their fans. And so to have that like call and response moment is beautiful. And it creates something a lot more different than I think a lot of other artists are giving, because yes, I'm gonna be screaming for all the people I love no matter what, but I'm like, it's a collaboration right now in this moment, which is really, really nice.
The culture of going to concerts is just so, like, because I've been to other concerts before, but K-pop concerts are different in the sense that everybody just feels like a friend. Yeah. Like, everybody can hang out, everybody's cool, everybody's on the same page, everybody's like, I don't know, and even like, because when we went, where was it? ATs?
ATs, yeah, in City Field.
Yeah, and there were like people who had I guess subscriptions to
like the Mets. Yeah.
Yeah. older dudes who just kind of like were there. They're like, I don't know, but we're gonna go see this group, and they ended up having a good time, you know, and yeah, it's just they create a fun environment instead of doing the regular like concessions like hot dogs or whatever. They usually have like food, like Korean food and Korean drinks and stuff. That it just makes it more of a community. It makes it fun, and they bring their culture to you, which is kind of it's cool.
Yeah, and
it's
everyone
nice.
dresses up usually to go and coincide with the concept that the concert is giving or the group is giving. It feels like I feel like a lot of the times the stigma towards fandom culture is because of what we see online. It's a lot of discourse, a lot of back and forth, a lot of infighting. It can be extremely overwhelming, and we're two adult women. It's not something that we like to be a part of or be a part of that discourse unless it's something that's actually worth being talked about. But at the same time, the one place where that is not prevalent, that we don't want to do that, is at a concert. It's the one space where everyone is supposed to feel comfortable, free, their best self, their best version of themselves as a fan of these people who are going to support them. You are getting freebies, which is like just free, like whether it be photo cards, stickers, knickknacks, like from people who took time out of their regular lives to make them for people they don't know at a concert
and give them to you
and
they will pull you aside and be like, I like your outfit, here's a sticker, and that works for me.
It does.
I'm like first grader.
It's amazing. I got like a lot of my favorite photo cards I got from a concert. Like I think it's such an amazing community moment that shows like how great we can all be and how these artists bring out the best in you,
right?
If you are actually enacting the things in which they try to put out to you.
Photo cards, by the way, are photos of members of a K-pop group, or sometimes photos of the entire group.
Yes.
But most people will carry around a photo card with their bias. Okay, multiple vocab words. Get with it, baby.
Get with it. Yeah, but I if anything, the one thing I recommend to anyone is to go to a K-pop concert. If you're not a fan of the artist,
you'll still have fun.
It's super fun. It is also hard to get a ticket depending on the group. So
depending on the group and depending on the fandom, some fandoms are way more organized than others. Like ARMY.
Speaking of those names, if you don't know what an ARMY is a fan of BTS.
Yeah. So each group has its own fandom name that kind of lets you know who they stand for, and you can be a fan of multiple groups. You can be an ARMY and a Blink and a Stay and whatever. But we're gonna run through some of our most popular fandom names.
A lot of them. There's obviously we mentioned ARMY already. There's Blinks, which are Blackpink fans. There's Stays, which are Stray Kids fans.
There's MOA for TXT. Don't ask me what it stands for. I don't remember.
Moments of Alwaysness.
Always, just thank you. Our producer is telling us it's always together.
Honestly, it does
Always
make sense.
Together
it
by Tomorrow, because their name is actually really cute. Like we get to tomorrow by being together.
Oh,
it's like very pro don't kill yourself. So shout out.
I love that.
Yeah, we get to tomorrow by being together. That's beautiful.
Wow, that's cool.
That's deep. But I didn't know it was
really
the always
like that. I didn't know that either. That makes me like it a lot more.
That makes me like it.
I mean, as someone who likes I'm many things, but I do appreciate MOAs. Okay?
Yeah. We have 18E.
18Es. Yes, for
18Es. Besties.
For
Be First.
Besties. For Be First. They're a J-pop group. They're amazing. They are coming to America. Y'all check them out. They're awesome. There's Peace for P1 Harmony.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But with a 1 as the I. Super cool. Yeah, because it's P1 Harmony and it's Peace. You know, they love
the names are so cool. The coolest names.
They're
so cool.
Awesome. Sometimes you can definitely tell it's like, oh, we took a lot of time. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is an interesting name.
Like Glit.
Okay. Sometimes you do need someone in the room who is well aware of like different phrases from different places. Illit is a group that is out of hype. They had a very meteoric year this past year with their song Magnetic. They debuted with it. It was one of the top songs of the year.
I cannot do the hand thing.
I can't do the hand thing either. It's super cute though. Speaking of Aegyo, girl's killing it. They finally hit the marker of choosing a fandom name.
Yes.
And the name choice they went with originally is Glit. Which, if you speak English, which I'm guessing you do because you're listening to this podcast, Glit be sounding like another word. Especially when you say it fast and with an accent, which a lot of the times people are going to do if you're in different countries. So it was not the best choice, in my opinion. I don't think anyone agreed that it was the best choice. I think, given the fact that you are a global company, you probably would have known that, but we're gonna move on.
Other famous fandom names to shout out. We got Elf.
Yes.
VIP.
Junior.
Super Junior's fandom name is just Super Juniors.
Yeah.
It's cute.
I think that's adorable.
It's kind of stupid, but it's cute.
I
like
it. I say, which I got 7.
The Royal Family.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. And then, remember?
Oh, this is my favorite. Okay, so I looked up fandom names because I wanted to know, like, what are some of the real fans? Because some of the groups I'm not fans of, but I want to know what the fandom names are. There's a group called What's Up, right?
Yeah.
Stay with me here. Their fandom name, Waffles.
Why?
What is the through line? I don't know. Did I look it up? Could I find it? Nope. I don't think it matters. I love it. I want to be a waffle.
After watching the videos, I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we did that.
Yeah. Speaking of cultural appropriation, girls.
Yeah. No.
The rapper was good, but
yeah. I think being aware of how you come off to your international fans could.
It's important. I just like the one that in.
It's important.
It's important.
Usually when you'll see like idols or Korean artists talking about fans, they're talking about their Korean fans, and then when they're talking about international fans, they will say international fans, because it's like you get different content depending on where you're from. Because a lot of these artists don't always speak English. They will do specific English things to be like, this for y'all. Here's your bone, you know?
Yeah.
And we eat it up every time.
There's like a Korean, Japanese, and international fan area that usually K-pop groups and artists kind of venture through.
And some groups have different fandom names for their Japanese fans versus their Korean fans, which is also cool.
I think that's like super, super dope. I know like TR, right? They have like Queens for Korean fans and then Sweet Treasure for Japanese fans. Yeah. Which is so cool. I want to be a Sweet Treasure so badly. But I'm not Japanese. So I will continue to be whatever fandom I can be.
Yes. There is a different community vibe when you go to concerts internationally too, because you'll see like when you watch the Japanese concerts or when you watch the Korean concerts, the crowd seems to be a lot more chill, a lot more quiet, a lot more like toned down.
Different
than
culture.
when you're at American concerts. We're barking.
We're loud, y'all. I'm not gonna apologize for it. No, like I know they love it. I know that European fans are kind of that way a little bit too, as well. Yeah, they're starting up. They are really starting up. Yeah, they are very organized though too. I do appreciate it. Yeah, Brazil, most organized though.
I would love to see a K-pop concert in Brazil.
I'd love to go to
Those are two random things, but like the food would be really good. The show would be good. I would like that.
They're so organized. Like their fan chants usually for any group that does a show in Brazil are usually so loud that you can hear them from the airports. That's usually the same.
I'm trying to hear Brazil break that wall.
I also want to hear them. We've been to a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. Especially recently.
Now,
we are blessed. Thank you to
Highly
the
favored.
K-pop gods. And the Ticketmaster not being the worst. But with that being said, we've gone to a lot of these concerts and there are an eclectic group of people, no matter what.
Yeah.
We love the culture, we love the etiquette. Everyone usually tries to follow it very, very well. And then there are some fans who are very passionate.
When you start pulling out the words, I know some that.
I'm being very careful. Only because I don't see it as a problem to be passionate. I see it as a problem to be somewhat problematic with your passion as a reason for it.
Oh.
So, not saying that this one word is, but Korea boos are kind of people who are very obsessive with K-culture.
Yeah.
They are really, really into it. Something that I think is like a through line is like a lot of people talk about like people who are obsessed with Japanese culture and they call them like weebos and like a lot of other things. Like they're people who like, oh, I look at you and I know you love K-culture. And that's not really a problem until there's a boundary crossing of like, oh, it gets a little appropriative at times. And like, oh, Stacy, love you, sweetie. You're not winter. Like, I love you so much. But to be aspired or aspirational because of these people is not the problem. Like you loving the culture and you doing your research and accepting yourself in it, I don't see as a problem as long as it's respectfully. The same thing, like, as Black people, I will never really get that angry at someone who obviously finds a lot of inspiration, love, and appreciation for our culture, as long as it doesn't overstep the boundary of how that love is expressed.
For sure.
That's it.
100%.
It really is that easy, and for some reason it's not for a lot of people.
Yeah, and when you see those people, you're always like, because I wonder how you think, and actually, what I wonder is when they're doing send-off, what these idols think when they're like, I'm in fucking Texas, and like this random kid is like, I'm gonna do all this egg. They're like, what is happening? And I mean, in some ways, it's like, oh, cool, like you're familiar with my culture, but then it's also like that's the only part of my culture that you know. Yeah,
it's the same way that like I'm guessing like a rap artist feels when like a non-Black rap fan comes up to them and starts like speaking a certain way, and you're like, oh, okay. But it's always your intention and how you enact it. If both of those things are coming from a place of heart, okay, like no one's gonna be mad at that. You're not really being a problematic person. Understood. You're just passionate and you love something and you've become obsessed with it. You hyperfixate. I don't really have a problem with that. I'm talking about it as someone who obviously does, because my background is a K-pop group member and I'm going to multiple concerts and we're doing a podcast about K-pop. Like I just feel like I refuse to be a part of that category. I don't wanna be part of that. Yes. I also we have to talk about like sex things really quickly. Yeah. So here's the thing. You should never be overly obsessed with your K-pop idol. It's just not healthy.
Or safe
for them or either party. And a saesang is the Korean phrasing for a stalker, who there's a lot of different parameters for it. Of course, obviously we know what a stalker is by like definition. Some people really don't. So let me explain it to you.
Break it down.
If you are going to a lot of concerts and you just enjoy them and you're doing a lot of things and you have the means to do it, go on ahead. No one's gonna be mad about that. I wish I was you. It's amazing. And if you love them and want to support them, they love your support. It's fine. There is a certain level of over interaction when it becomes a little scary or unsafe for those artists. If they are not on the clock for fans, they are not there for your entertainment. I have a lot of feelings about this as fans of a lot of different people. A lot of people like to overstep those boundaries. Including what they feel they have ownership of.
So like following them in the car, stalking them in the mall, or when they're out with their families, which, guys, you have to realize they don't get a lot of time with their families in general, so like please let them have that. What else? Getting in the elevator with a marriage certificate and trying to force V of BTS to marry you.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Speaking of following them to the military and trying to go there is also very weird.
Honestly, joining the military for love.
Okay. As a fan fiction
concept,
concept, exceptional. As an actual concept, write it down. Don't actually do it. To travel to Korea, to go and follow them somewhere, to travel to Paris and follow them around at Paris Fashion Week. To I don't know, send things to their house or give them multiple phone calls or find their hotel and try and do things there to take videos.
Find their hotel from the live.
Yes. To like, just overall.
To put a camera in a teddy bear and give it to them as a fan gift and then watch them in their house.
Rude.
Real things that have happened.
Real things that
by
happened.
the way.
Giving them
for my grandmother who's listening.
Giving them food that had things in it that made them sick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's weird. It's odd.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or even something as simple as, it's not simple, it was very mean, but like, if they do something that you don't like, you enacting your revenge as a fan as well.
Sending the funeral wreaths and all that kind of shit.
Speaking of Rise of 7. With that being said,
she said.
There is a difference between a fan and a say-sang. There's a difference between a fan and someone who is obsessive with one person and disregarding an entire group altogether. These are not what they call their fans.
Yeah.
They will tell you to your face that's the truth. And it's fair because they are human beings who want to give something to you. They do. So that's what they're there for. Don't overstep the boundary. There's a beautiful relationship being created between fans and artists, and I want that to stay as it is because that's what they're there for.
Don't stalk people.
Yeah, it's inappropriate and weird, and it will just make them burrow more inward, and you'll never see your idol again. So, no.
Fair.
Valid. And they're people, so, like, protect their mental health just as much as you need to protect yours.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's interesting because especially watching, like, as the idols grow, the fans also grow with them.
Yeah.
And it can be fascinating to watch that journey kind of happen together. I haven't been in K-pop long enough to, like, grow with a group, so I'm excited to have that journey. But, yeah, you'll definitely notice that as fans age, the vibe of a group will kind of shift because I think a lot of groups, when you grow in general, you change. But their group vibe will change, and then their fans' vibe will change too. So it's kind of a cool thing to watch grow. I do think there is a bit of like a stigma to being a K-pop fan, especially as you get older. Like I'm still in my 20s, so I'm allowed to like whatever. Yeah. But I feel like once we hit 30, once we hit 40, there's definitely like an expectation to not be as like into the K-pop stuff, as you age.
Yeah, and I think that's like a hardship with like, especially in like a lot of female dominated spaces, a lot of the things that bring people joy are kind of stifled as you get older, and it's not a bad thing if it naturally happens. I'm very much the understander of like, oh, okay, like, I love this person at this point in my life and I have grown from it, or I've shifted my perspective and my priorities, and so I'm no longer going to be going to a bunch of fan meetings for this person. I'm not going to do like this thing. I'm not going to buy all these albums. Like, sure, and I respect it, understand it, and not only that, not everyone has the means to give the same level of support.
I don't.
I definitely don't. We are mostly going to try and like put our money towards concerts, not so much like the collectibles.
I want the live experience.
That's my thing. Like, and I think that's something we definitely share because again, we come from a place of like loving performers. So that's the thing that works for us. And so I think that you growing is not the problem. Sometimes the same way as like your intention for things are where I'll go, oh, that's unfortunate, because if it's that, you grow past it because it's like, well, it's expected of you to like move past that because it's childish or people see it as not smart or dumb or like you're putting priorities in places you shouldn't. So a lot of times, like, I've noticed a lot of people will get married or just be past 30 and they'll be like, you should really probably stop being so obsessed with this. And sure, in the grand scheme of things, priorities are different once you get older, but I think there's nothing wrong with loving what you love.
Yeah, like I always see, like, when you're on I love Facebook Marketplace, but when you're on Facebook Marketplace, you'll see when someone's like selling my lot of all my light sticks, all my concert like materials, like all my albums, signed albums, and you're like, oh wow, like selling signed albums. I'm like, that's something. I don't know, even, like, if you get it signed, like, you got it signed, so that's an experience you want to hold on to. And if you need the money, I get it, but I think a lot of people get rid of it, like you said, because of the age, and you're like, oh, I'm too old for this, and they're selling it, and I'm like, oh, We lost another one. Yeah. I will take that signed album.
I will gladly take
that album, girl.
Way cheaper light stick. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah,
But I think it's unfortunate because I don't think that's the same thing that people put on a lot of male-dominated spaces.
Like, yeah, because you can like sports till whenever,
and it's normalized. Like you're allowed to get the memorabilia and have a whole room dedicated to it, and
he's just a
collectors, and like and go to like the season openers and the trainings and whatever, and take time off work to go to places and travel for.
I don't know any K-pop ticket that costs as much as a ticket to the Super Bowl.
No,
I'm just saying,
not at all. And even then, to get the cheapest ticket, you gotta get it so far in advance that you don't know who's playing, or who's performing.
Yeah, like who's going to the Super. Okay, it's not even your team, babe.
It's not. But I think that that's like kind of the difference of how we see things. That it's like, oh well, this is dumb and not a priority and not important, and then this is something that's like, well, this is just a passion. I'm like, it is also a passion.
Yeah.
We fangirl and we're fanboying and we're doing our moment, sure, but like we enjoy these artists and just like how y'all would love to go to your rap performances and go to your whatever, we're going to Beyonce tour. Like we want to see our people. And it's not seen as dumb to do that. So why is it only seen as dumb when it's K-pop?
Yeah. Stigmas suck.
It does.
Be nice to people. Let people do what makes them happy.
It's just an art form. So like, if you don't get it, you don't get it. That's fine. But like, just like I'm gonna continue to watch my animes and love my K-pop boys and girls and do whatever, I want everyone else to do that too. That's it.
Okay, stop being sad.
I'm not sad. I'm just saying, I'm going towards 30 and I'm not trying to give up on who I love.
Who you love? Bitch, who do you love? Okay, anyway. Moving on, Adia?
Yeah.
Your serve of the week.
Okay. My serve of the week this week is a big one. Strap in. My serve of the week this week is Bam Bam of GOT7. I have to shout you out immediately.
Yes.
We have marveled as we watched you be an amazing coach and captain on this TV show, helping to create the next amazing performers and artists, mostly out of China. Just Right, you're also doing great. I love everyone on it. The 8, love you. Now, here's the thing. Bam Bam, I see you. I see you and that one amazing performer, Yatao. We gotta shout you out. You're amazing. We love you, sweetie. I get it. Yatao is gorgeous, talented, sweet.
Yeah.
And Bam Bam is fluttered. And I get it. I'd be flustered as heck too.
Bam Bam is struggling.
Like, he is struggling. And every other judge is like, yo, what is going on? And I'm like, please more. I love when there is a certain level of admiration and appreciation between two people, no matter what.
Yeah.
For just existing. I love that.
Are you shipping Bam Bam and Yatao?
I am deeply shipping Bam Bam and Yatao. And I'm pretty sure Bam Bam would be completely fine with me shipping.
I think Bam Bam is also shipping.
He is also shipping them. The entire cast is shipping them.
Yeah.
I wish for the best. I love you guys and I will keep you all posted on how that goes. Okay. Daio, my dear friend, what is your serve of the week?
Okay. I'm like really excited about this one. My serve of the week, it lasted for literally 0.5 seconds. And I can't tell you how important those 0.5 seconds are. And that is, I don't even remember what event he was attending, but my boy, Bumgyu, Baby Gyu, of TXT, he had a little moment. So he experienced, this is not something that we covered in our vocab, but twink death is a common term amongst K-pop fandoms and K-pop artists. Famous twink deaths, San of ATEEZ, Mingyu, V of BTS. Whoa, what? So that is when a young, sprightly-looking young man, as we said, they debut in their teens, kind of comes into their man body and changes, and you're like, whoa, what happened? You were not looking like this before. Mm-hmm. Like we said, we grow with them, and Bumgyu had that happen recently, and wow, thanks. Never close the gyms at Hive.
No.
Yeah, no, slay. Everything, Bumbyu's been... What? How do I...
Oof. I'm gonna be real honest. Bumbu is the one that little phrase I said earlier, where it's like your bias will change, is the one that did not happen to.
Yes, I've loved Bumbu literally since the
day
first
one.
I was like that one. I was locked in. Are you my twin? Are you locked in? I was locked in for Bumbu, no joke. So shout out Bumbu, shout out your twin Seth. That is my serve of the week.
I love a moment when just like,
because you can tell he's feeling himself, and I love that for him.
And I love that for everyone who had the little twink death. I'm happy for you, but also like everyone who stays a little Twinkie, I love that too.
Yeah, it's your art, babe.
But
That's
also
right.
bump you. Okay, arms.
we see you, King. Yeah. So I think that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Thank you for listening to fanSERVice podcast. So if you want to follow along, you can always check out our YouTube channel. You can check out our website. We have Twitter. We have Threads. We have Instagram. We have TikTok. And all of those are going to be linked in our bio. So please click, please like, share, subscribe, send to a friend. And you can also send us an email. Let us know what you think. If you have topics that you would like to hear us discuss, send that our way too. If you want to complain, send that our way too. Don't leave it as a review. Send it as an email. And yeah, we'd love to read.
Yeah. And we're going to be at a lot of things. We're going to be out and about. We may see you, whether it be at a K-pop club night or another concert, because we have a problem. We're sharing it with you freely here. So please feel free to, chat us and add us. And we're hoping to see you there.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
You